Okay, today I'm going to talk about engines, especially internal combustion engines. Engines are one of the most important inventions in modern history and they play a huge role in our daily lives, even though we often don't notice them directly. Almost every modern vehicle and machine depends on engines. For example, when we travel by car, bus, truck or motorcycle, we are using engines. When we see airplanes flying in the sky or ships moving across the sea, all of them are powered by engines. Even in factories, construction sites and power plants, engines are used to operate machines and produce energy. So engines are not just part of transportation, they are everywhere around us and they are an essential part of modern life and technology. Now let's think about a simple question. What would happen if there were no engines? I can give answer. If engines didn't exist, transportation would be extremely slow and difficult. People would have to rely on only on walking animals or very simple machines. Traveling long distance would take a lot of time and effort. Heavy work in factories and construction would be very hard and would require a lot of human strength. This shows us how uh, important engines are in our world today. They make life faster, easier, and more efficient. In simple terms, engines help us move, travel, and perform heavy tasks that humans cannot do alone. That is why they are considered one of the greatest inventions in engineering history. Now, to understand engineers better, how can I say? We first need to understand what an engine actually is. An engine is a machine that converts energy to mechanical motion. In other words, uh, it takes energy from a source and turns it into movement that we can use. For example, in a car, the engine takes energy from fuel and uses it to move the vehicle forward. Without the engine, the car wouldn't be able to move at all. This idea of converting energy into motion is the basic principle behind all engines. Engines are also designed to work uh, continuously. They do have they don't just produce movement once. Instead, they keep producing motion as long as energy or fuel is supplied. This continuous process is what makes engines so powerful and useful in real life. In this lesson series, I will first explain what an engine is in simple terms. You can see in here. Then I will talk about where engines are used in daily life. After that, I will explain how engines work step by step, and finally I will introduce basic engine types and simple problems that can happen in engines. By the end of this topic, you will have a clear understanding of how engines work and why they are so important in today or why they are so important in modern technology. So let's begin with the basic question. What exactly is an engine? Uh, we don't have anybody in meet, so we can continue. Now let's move to the main question of this lesson. What is an engine? To understand engines properly, we first need to understand their basic purpose in simple terms. By the way, you can see in here uh, the engine parts I will talk about at the next lesson. An engine is a machine that converts energy into mechanical motion. This means that engine takes energy from a source and transforms it into movement that can be used to the work. In other words, an engine creates motion from energy. This is the most basic idea behind all engines, no matter how simple or complex they are. For example, when you are sitting in a car, the car doesn't move by itself. When you press the gas pedal, you are not directly moving the wheels. Instead, you are telling the engine to produce power. You can think like this. That power is then converted into motion, which moves the car forward. Without an engine, a car wouldn't be able to move at all, no matter how advanced its design is. So, in conclusion, we can say that the engine is the heart of any vehicle or machine. Now let's think more deeply about why engines are needed in the first place. The main reason is that humans and animals have limited physical power. We can walk, run, or carry small loads, but we cannot produce enough force to move heavy machines or travel at high speed for long distance. For example, imagine trying to move a car by pushing it with your hands. It will be extremely difficult, almost impossible. Now, imagine moving a truck or an airplane or a large ship. These tasks are completely beyond human strength. That is why engineers are necessary. They provide a much higher level of power compared to living beings. Engineers allow us to do work that would uh, otherwise be impossible. Now let's look at where engineers are used in real life. Uh, Engineers are used in many types of transportation. You can see in here. Uh, Cars use engines to move on roads. Motorcycles use smaller engines but follow the same principle. Trucks use large engines to carry heavy loads over long distance. Airplane, you can see in here. Airplanes use extremely powerful engines to generate enough force to lift off the ground and stay in the air. Ships use big marine engines to move across oceans. But engines are not only used in transportation, they are also used in industry. Factories use engines to operate machines that produce goods. Construction sites use engines to power heavy equipment like excavator and bulldozers. Electric generators also use engines to produce electricity when needed. So we can clearly see that engines are everywhere in modern life. They are everywhere in our life. Now let's return to the basic definition again and understand it more deeply. Uh, we said an engine is a device that converts energy into motion. But what exactly does this mean? Energy is the ability to do work. Motion is movement. So an engine is something that takes stored energy and turns it into movement that we can use. In most engines we see in daily life, this energy comes from fuel. Fuel is a, how can I say, substance like gasoline or diesel. Fuel contains chemical energies stored inside it. Uh, this energy isn't directly usable until it's released. When fuel is used inside an engine, a process called combustion happens. During combustion, fuel reacts with oxygen and releases energy. I will talk about more deeply uh, in next lesson about this topic. This energy is then captured by the engine and converted into mechanical motion. So we can describe the process in a simple chain: fuel, energy, combustion, and motion. You can see the graphic in here. Now let's understand another important idea. Engines don't just produce motion once. They produce motion constantly. This means the process of energy conversion happens again and again very quickly. You can think like a cycle. Inside a running engine, this process repeats many times per second. We can say devir in Turkish. Each cycle produces a small amount of motion, but when combined, they create continuous and strong movement. This is why engines feel smooth and powerful when they are operating correctly. Now let's make a simple comparison. Think about a bicycle. A bicycle needs human energy. When you pedal, your body converts energy from food into motion, but your body gets tired after a while. Now compare this to an engine. An engine doesn't get tired like a human. As long as it has fuel, it can keep producing motion constantly for a long time. This is one of the main advantages of engineers over uh, human power. Now let's think about control. Mm, Engineers are also controllable systems. This means we can control how much power they produce. For example, when you press the gas pedal lightly, the engine produces less power, but when you press it harder, the engine produces more power. This allows us to control speed and movement very precisely. Now let's imagine a world without engines. In that world, there will be no modern transportation. Cars would not exist. Airplanes wouldn't fly. Factories wouldn't operate efficiently. Heavy construction work would be extremely slow. Life would depend only on human and animal strength. This shows how important engines are for modern civilization. Now let's summarize everything we learned. An engine is a machine that converts energy into motion. It uses fuel as an energy source. It produces continuous movement throughout repeated cycles. By the way, we will talk about fuel at our next lessons. It is used in transportation, industry, and many other areas. Without engines, modern life wouldn't be possible as we know it today. Uh, get harder. In the next part of the lesson, I will start. We will start learning how engines actually work step by step and what happens inside them during operation. Now I will talk about uh, how can I say relationship between energy and motion. To understand engines, uh, first we need to understand what energy is and how it is connected to movement. Energy is the ability to do work. In simple words, energy is what makes things move, change, or happen. Without energy, nothing in the world can move or function. Everything around us depends on energy in some form. For example, uh, humans need energy from food to walk, run, and perform daily activities. Animals also need energy from food to survival and move, like us. But machines are different. Machines don't eat food, so they need another source of energy. They are using fuel. This is where engineers become very important. Engineers are machines that take energy from fuel and convert it into motion. Now let's understand this step by step in a simple way. Fuel such as gasoline or diesel contains stored chemical energy, like I said at the intro part. This energy is not directly usable in its stored form. It needs to be realized and converted into another form. When fuel is used inside an engine, it goes through a process called combustion. During combustion, fuel reacts with oxygen and releases energy. This released energy is very powerful. The engine captures this energy and converts it into mechanical motion. So we can describe the process in a simple chain. Fuel contains energy, combustion releases energy, engine converts energy, motion is created. Now let's connect this idea to real life. Think about car. A car doesn't move on its own. It needs energy to move. That energy comes from fuel. When the engine uses fuel, it produces energy and that energy is turned into motion. This motion is what makes the car move forward. If more fuel is used, more energy is produced and the car moves faster. If less fuel is used, less energy is produced and the car moves slower. So we can clearly say that speed depends on energy conservation. Now let's take another simple example. Think about a bicycle. A bicycle doesn't use fuel. Instead, it uses human energy. When you pedal, your body converts energy from food into motion. So in both cases, uh, whether it is a human or a machine, the same rule applies. Energy is needed for motion. Now let's look at energy types in a simple way. There are different uh, forms of energy in the world. Some of the most important ones are these: chemical energy, mechanical energy. Chemical energy is fuel or food. Mechanical energy is movement. Heat energy, temperature. Electrical energy is electric. In engines, the most important form is chemical energy. Uh, Fuel contains chemical energy stored inside it. When combustion happens, this chemical energy is released. Then it is converted into mechanical energy, which is motion. This is the main job of an engine. Now let's think about something important. Engines don't produce motion only once. They produce motion continuously. This means the energy conversion uh, process repeats many times per second. Uh, that is why engines feel smooth and powerful when they are working. Now let's imagine a world without energy conversation. In the world, nothing would move unless it is pushed directly. Cars wouldn't exist, factories wouldn't work, airplanes wouldn't fly. Even simple machines wouldn't function. Everything would depend only on human or animal strength. This would make life extremely slow and difficult. Now let's connect everything back to engines. Engines are special machines because they control energy conversation in a very efficient way. They take fuel energy, release it in a controlled way, and turn it into continuous motion. This is why engines are one of the most important inventions in human history. They made transportation, industry, and modern life possible. Now let's summarize everything we learned in this section. Energy is the ability to the world. Motion is movement. Engines convert energy into motion. Fuel contains chemical energy, and engines convert it into mechanical energy. Without this process, modern life wouldn't exist as we know it today. In the next part of the lesson, we will connect this idea to real engine systems and start learning how combustion actually happens inside an engine. Now I want to repeat something. Uh, let's talk about where engines are used in real life. This is an important topic because engineers are not only used in one area. In fact, they are used almost everywhere around us in modern life. We can say that engineers are one of the main reasons why modern transportation or industry are possible. Let's start with the most common example, cars. I know I used this example, but it is basic example. Cars are one of the most widely used vehicles in the world, and almost all cars use internal combustion engines. The engine inside a car takes fuel and converts it into motion, which allows the car to move on roads. Without engines, cars wouldn't be able to move at all, and transportation would be extremely limited. Now let's move to motorcycles. Motorcycles also use engines, but they usually have smaller engines compared to cars because they are smaller than cars. Even though they are smaller, they still work on the same basic principle, converting fuel energy into motion. Motorcycles are used for fast and flexible transportation, especially in cities. Now let's talk about trucks. Trucks are large vehicles used to carry heavy loads. They use powerful engines because they need a lot of force to move heavy cargo over long distance. Without engines, transporting goods between cities or countries would be very slow and difficult. This shows how important engines are in global uh, global transportation. I think this is enough for uh, where our engine is used. Now conclude this lesson. Uh, what we learned today. Today we talked about engines and their importance in modern life. First, we started by understanding where engines are used in our daily lives. We saw that engines are everywhere, from cars, motorcycle to airplanes, ships, factories, and construction machines. Then we talked about what energy is and how it is connected to motion. We learned that energy is the ability to do work and motion is the movement. Engineers are machines that convert energy into motion. We also understood that most engines use fuel as their energy source, and through a process called combustion, this energy is realized and converted into mechanical movement. Okay, so the basic idea is very simple. Energy goes into the engine and motion comes out of the engine. This idea is the foundation of all engine systems. Without engines, modern life would be completely different. Transportation would be very slow. Industries wouldn't be efficient, and many technologies we use today wouldn't exist. Engineers are one of the most important inventions in human history because they allow us to do work faster, easier, and more efficiently. In this lesson, we focused on the basic understanding of engines, where they are used, and the idea of energy and motion. In the next lessons, we will go deeper into how engines actually work inside, and we will learn step by step about combustion, engine cycles, and different types of engines. Okay, I think that's all for today. See you at the next lessons. Goodbye.